The next subtopic is 2.3, that is Pont analysis. Okay, so apa itu Pont analysis? Okay, so apa itu Pont analysis? Okay, so the basic Pont analysis model is a method of breaking down the original equation for ROE into three components that are operating efficiency, asset efficiency, and leverage. Operating efficiency is measured by net profit margin and indicates the amount of net income generated per dollar of sales. Asset efficiency is measured by the total asset turnover and represent the sales amount generated per dollar of asset. Finally, financial leverage is determined by the equity multiplier. So inilah DuPont. Dia bagikan ROE ini into three categories: net profit margin, total asset turnover, and financial leverage. Okay. So, DuPont analysis act as a search technique aimed at finding the key areas responsible for the firm's financial condition. DuPont analysis used to analyze a firm's profitability and ROE. Tu kita guna DuPont ni untuk analyze firm profitability dan juga ROE. So, DuPont analysis ni allow management to view more clearly that what determines or influence ROE and the interrelationship between net profit margin, asset turnover, and debt ratio. So debt ratio tu kita akan guna equity multiplier lah. Okay. So DuPont analysis breakdowns ROE into three parts, that is profit margin, total asset turnover, and financial leverage. Okay. So now let's go to the equity multiplier. So equity multiplier measure a firm's total asset per ringgit of shareholders' equity. So, total asset bahagikan dengan total shareholders equity. Itu formula untuk equity multiplier. So, it indicates how a company use debt in asset financing. The higher equity multiplier means higher financial leverage. Maksudnya dia tengok berapa banyak debt yang digunakan untuk membeli asset, to finance the asset. Itu equity multiplier. So semakin tinggi equity multiplier, semakin tinggilah financial leverage of the company. So how to improve the firm's ROE? Increase the sales without a disproportionate increase in costs and expenses. Barulah profit you boleh bertambah, for a year akan bertambah. Okay. Second, reduce the firm's COGS or operating expenses. Third, increase sales relative to the asset base or decrease the amount invested in the company's asset. Fourth, increase the use of debt relative to equity, but only to the extent that it does not jeopardize the firm's financial position. Maksudnya dia suruh company tu finance menggunakan liability. Kenapa? You tengok formula dia. Okay, the higher the ROE, the higher the equity multiplier. Maksudnya dia ada direct relationship. Sebab tu kena increase dia punya debt. Tapi sebab tu dia kata not to jeopardize the firm's financial position. Sebab adalah disadvantage kalau terlalu banyak debt. Okay. So next, advantages of DuPont analysis. It makes it possible to assess all aspects of the firm's activities in order to isolate key areas of responsibility. Dia pun dah tengok efficiency, dia tengok leverage, dia tengok apa lagi? 3 tu. Net profit margin, profitability ratio, asset turnover tu, efficiency ratio, and debt ratio. Okay. So allow management to view more clearly what drive to ROE, sama ada asset turnover ke, margin ke, ataupun debt. Okay. Third, it provides management with a roadmap to follow in assessing their effectiveness in managing the firm's resources so as to maximize the return earned on owner's investment. Okay, jom kita tengok apa maksud. Tengok example kat dalam internet. So, dia cakap, the first two components assess the operations of the business. The larger these components, the more productive the business is. However, it's worth mentioning that depending on the industry in which the company operates, net profit margin and total asset turnover tend to trade off between each other. For example, a machinery manufacturer is likely to generate a low turnover of assets and requires some heavy investment. Thus, this company will probably see a high profit margin to offset the low turnover. So maksudnya ni net profit margin, total asset turnover dengan juga financial leverage ni, tak semua company bagus. Okay, so dia katalah machinery ni, machinery manufacturer ni, dia generate low turnover of asset. Kenapa? Sebab dia perlu beli banyak lah, and require some heavy investment. So sebab tu dia see a high profit margin to offset the low turnover. Turnover asset dia rendah tapi profit margin dia boleh tinggi. So sebab tu dia akan menggunakan DuPont analysis. Nak tengok which one. So on the other hand, a fast food restaurant is likely to see high asset turnover but a much smaller profit margin due to the lower price. The last component, financial leverage, captures the company's financial activities. The more leverage the company takes, the higher the risk of default. Nevertheless, even if the company operates in the world in which there is no profitability of default, additional leverage still results in a negative effect on ROE. Additional leverage means that the company needs to pay more interest, which lowers the net income. Subsequently, the company sees a lower net profit margin. So dia adalah satu naik, satu rendah. So kita melalui DuPont ni, kita boleh tengok which one company ni profit tu banyak pada net profit margin ke, total asset turnover ke, ataupun financial leverage. So itulah untuk DuPont analysis.